All right, we're here with Oliver Mensah. We're here in Accra, Ghana for the year of return. Oliver, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What are you up to? Yeah.
Okay. So I go by Oliver Mensah, which is like my official name. And what I do basically, I'm a software developer for a startup called DigitalOcean. And what DigitalOcean we do is we provide backend as a service platform for mobile and backend developers. And aside that, we do kind of consultation for other companies as well. So we base side projects within the entire company as well. The current project that we are working on as a company is a co-working space project, which is making sure about members of the space getting access to booking for a space, making sure that those who cannot even attend the space can join remotely for meetings and stuff. So that's the project that we are currently working on for now. Okay.
And how long have you been developing, and what has your career trajectory been like to get to this point?
Okay, so I graduated from college in 2018, and in Ghana here, when you finish with college, you have to serve the nation for a year, and that's a year project. I worked with a startup that was into agri-tech, so I built two mobile applications, one for taking data of poultry farmers, and another one for helping cocoa farmers to learn about modern ways of doing their farming. So that were the two projects that I worked on when I was doing my service with them. So I ended the service in August this year. Then I joined the startup that I'm working for now. So I can see writing production code will be almost 1.5 years now. Yeah, that's the whole kind of my career development. Aside the writing code for the company, I'm also into the developer community project, which I started when I was in the university. That's my final year. So for that, it has been about 2-year journey, and basically making sure that developers get access to materials, they get access to network of people that they want to meet and learn from. So the developer journey has been good in terms of writing code and also getting into the developer community project.
So in those 2 years, like as you're developing this community,
Yeah.
what have been some ways that have been successful for you to develop and reach and get these resources that you want to developers in their hands and educated?
Okay, so thinking about the developer community project, I think one of the success stories that I can really talk about is helping one guy who was a teacher and he wanted to become a developer. So he joined our developer community. He got access to a network of people. He got access to materials and resources, and now he's working for a startup called NAPAC as a front-end developer.
Oh,
so
wow.
So that's some of the things that when I look back, I can say, okay, yeah, we did something that is very good, helping people to, not saying teaching is not a good job, but he wanted something that he will be kind of interested in, and we help him throughout his journey to become like a software developer now. So these are one of the success stories that we can really talk about.
That's fantastic. It's amazing to hear. Very inspirational too.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about that, do you have like goals to say like, all right, we got this one guy transitioned into this career field, now we want 10 more for next year?
Yeah, so I think for our developer community, most of the events that we do is kind of general to everyone, so everyone can come attend the event, learn and stuff. But it's just this year that came to most of us to really think about or not ordinarily setting up meetings or programs or workshops for people to attend, but we can kind of put kind of strategies together where, let's say, we are training people for 3 months, people who haven't been to software development, let's say taking front-end courses for 3 months, and making sure that these guys transition from just beginners to getting full-time job as a front-end developers. That's something that we are starting in 2020 to know how you can help people from beginning to getting their full-time job.
Right. That's fantastic.
What are the things that you see, if you zoom out a little bit from your own individual work in the tech community, in the developer community here, what are some things that you see as, if you can kind of speak to other community leaders, what are some of the things that you've already learned and maybe the mistakes or you've already made that you want to share with them that you think will help continue to grow the tech community here?
I think for the tech communities, individually we are doing well. Most of us are, doing the work to support developers, giving them mentorship and stuff that can help them boost their career growth. But I think what we can do together is mostly working together as community in terms of projects. I think that one will help to boost the kind of work everyone is doing, making sure that we are in sync with whatever we are doing together, so that if there's something that you like to do, maybe we have done, some community has already done it, and they can ask, okay, we want to maybe organize front-end workshop or maybe React.js, and you guys have already done that. Should we go ahead to do that, or should you do that in the next 3 months or something of that sort? So if we all come together as community, I think it's going to make everything kind of better for everyone. Yeah.
And since most of the audience watching is developers, the DigitalOcean community, I'm curious about, can you get specific around the actual technologies that you see being heavily used here in Ghana right now? What are just some of the, you're mentioning different developer communities, just throw out a couple if you can, to share some of the technologies that people are excited about here.
Okay, so I think we have user groups, like the .NET user group, and other user groups that are not like officially known. Like you have JavaScript user group, which is just on just a WhatsApp group, and most of these smaller groups exist. But you have the bigger developer communities, like the Dev Congress developer community, which is most of all the developers are there, and we have like the GDD. Then have the developer circles community as well. So like when you take, let's say, Dev Congress, you don't really focus on one specific technology. It's like everyone have their interests, and once in a while we take a topic that we think will be beneficial to everyone, then we all come together to discuss and learn. And that is also similar to, let's say, the developer circles and the GED as well. But aside that, the user groups, more of them focus on the technology itself. Like if you're in JavaScript user group, they are focused on JavaScript content. If you're in .NET, it's .NET content. But in all, I think we have more developers in the front end kind of area. Yeah, you have a lot of front end developers. So like content wise, doing workshop on front end, we get a lot of developers attending. But if, let's say, you are doing something that is, let's say, software design, architecturing, those kind of stuff, we don't really have a lot of people into those kind of areas. So if you organize a workshop, people might be interested in attending, but just a few might be interested in attending those kind of programs. Yeah. But aside that, I think the crowd aspect too is also gaining kind of popularity here. Like recently, the AWS team were here to organize, like, I think a meetup for people on cloud technologies, and the GED also are also doing well on like setting up the GC for the Google Cloud, those kind of stuff. Yeah, and I think the DigitalOcean teams can also kind of start like a user group around it. Let's say having a user group that is into DigitalOcean technologies. I think that one too will also help us.
Yeah, I mean, what else would you like to see from companies? Like, what would you like to say to companies that want to continue to invest in Ghana and Africa in general? What are some of the things to keep in mind?
The question again, can you come again?
What are some of the things to keep, if you're let's say DigitalOcean.
Yeah.
DigitalOcean is interested in investing in Africa and developer communities in Africa.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you think are important to consider, to keep in mind when doing that?
Oh, okay. I think most of the times you have to look at the developers themselves. Most of them are like to say, will do front-end developers because they might not have like powerful computers to run like let's say software that requires gigabytes of their memory. So like yes, if you want to do AngularJS, you just have to need some few CLIs to install, then you are good to go. Than having like software that requires a lot of memory of your system. In that case, the system is even going to be slow. Your computer is going to be slow, so that might not really kind of make the person very happy in setting up those kind of infrastructure or technology on their system. So I think the developers, you have to know the developer that you are going to organize or bringing those kind of technologies to them. Would the technology be suitable for their development flow and all this kind of stuff? I think that should be some of the things that we should consider. Aside that, what we should consider is maybe working with existing developer communities, especially if you are trying to start new. You have to leverage on other developer leads that we know who can also jump in to support the new developer community that we are coming to start. Most of the times, the new ones, most of them might not know what this community is about. But let's say Kopi, who is into the developer community, is the one leading the group. They get, oh, he has been leading this community for the past years and he's trying to start something new. They will know, okay, this might be the reason why he's starting this community. And because of that, you have to jump on to support what he's trying to bring on board. Yeah. I think is that what I answered?
Yeah, that's
really
great.
helpful.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we'll be able to edit anything too. Yeah, that's great. One thing that I'm curious about here, and as you're building communities, what have you seen? You talked about WhatsApp groups and how people are organizing on WhatsApp groups as a channel. And I know that's really popular outside of the US. That's not necessarily something that happens all the time. How do you see those WhatsApp groups forming into actual communities for in real life engagement? Has that been something that you've seen or successful or?
I think from, let's say, online community to actual offline meetups. Sometimes the issue around that is, those user groups are small and they don't really have like, let's say, sponsors or people from or like organizations that are helping them to bring set up offline meetups. So getting sponsorship for that program, especially even the co-working space for the meetups and all you have to pay for them, right? So it's kind of very difficult transition from just the WhatsApp group to like an actual offline meetings. I remember I was part of the Android user group, which is an just a WhatsApp group, and that's when I was doing more of Android related stuff. We tried doing our best to host one offline meetup, and the spaces that we reached out to were charging a lot of money. We have pushed up to this time. Nothing of that has happened. Yeah, so I think those groups should, maybe if the technology they are focusing on, they would like to sponsor, you can reach out to those, let's say, technologies. If they would like to support you to set up the user group, just transition from form to an actual meetings. I think that one should help. But usually, because those people we are just using the technology, we feel like we cannot really, we don't really have the connection or the people within, let's say, the chain to talk to. Let's say you have the Android developer community, you don't really know anyone at Google who is in charge of this Android platform or stuff. So it's kind of very difficult for you to kind of connect to those people to help you setting up the initiatives.
I see.
I mean, as a community leader, one thing I've noticed in the spaces that we've been in so far is it's a similar issue in the United States. In most technical spaces, from a gender perspective, women end up taking up just 25%, something like that, 30, maybe up to 40. But that's like very high number.
Yeah.
Here, I've noticed even it's a smaller number. Obviously, it's a newer tech community. So I'm wondering, as a community leader, what are some things that you try to do in order to make your events in your communities more inclusive, so that there could be more, specifically from a gender perspective, women participating in the learning, in the engagement, and everything, in the development ultimately.
Yeah. There is even the question that came up after the meeting with you guys. I think when you analyze, we had about 5 females just attending the event, and we were like, why are we having just 5 females at this event? At least there is the VP of engineering attending, so we should have a lot of people attending to the event and getting to meet everyone. And upon our conclusion, what we've learned is most of the women kind of attend events when it's kind of like a woman-like organizer. Like the organizer is a female, or the event is being organized by a female. So what we are going to do from now is work closely with the female leads and helping them share the content or the event, or even being part of the event that we are organizing. Though it might not be their event, but bringing everyone on board will make them kind of involved, rather than just sending them in the invitation that, oh, we are hosting this event, can you guys attend the event? Making them part of it will make them kind of really feel like they're included.
Owners of the space.
Event. Yeah, do all this kind of stuff.
Not
so I
just
think that's
but creators of the experience.
Of the experience.
That's awesome.
So I think that would really help in most of the events that we are maybe will be planning in the near future, rather than we just sending them the invites. They should come on board and be part of the whole organization.
That's great. So question, what do you see for, you said you're just a couple years now out of school, you've been doing this for a few years now, and have made huge strides for this green field of what technology is here in Accra, Ghana. What does the next 2 to 5 years look like for not only Oliver, but this really thriving, beautiful community in Accra?
In the next 5 years, I think what I want to see is more like we have more of the developers, not just working locally, but you have people working with international organizations. I think that will give them more of exposure and experience to share with the upcoming ones. And also thinking about how they can just transition from just being developers to maybe creating kind of entrepreneurial kind of spirit or environment where they can have their startups or organizations being running, employing more people to work and all this kind of stuff. So I'm seeing that more of entrepreneurship and experience. That's what maybe in the next 5 years you love to see.
That's fantastic. I would love to see that as well. So bringing companies here where they can have remote and international exposure to increase skills, in addition to really building this entrepreneurship community with all this technical skills and advancement. Love that.
That will make us grow. I mean, they'll have a lot of money. And if you have a lot of money, your life also become better.
That's
thank
great.
you.
Oliver, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you sharing your experiences, and can't wait to check in and track your growth along the way.
I also appreciate inviting us to also share our experience with everyone here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.